Okay, here we go. Thank God. Let's open all the windows.
It feels weird to hear like silence. Pull the curtain back.
Also, you don't.
Huh?
Yeah, here we go. I feel like this is.
Oh,
that's a
no! Also, you could.
There we go. All right, I feel like I'm finally there. So, yeah, these stand-up things are kind of falling apart. Try not to help them on the way out. So today we're going to go through muscles. I have some slides for you. We'll go through the slides. There is this muscle model right here. And I'm going to go through the anatomy of that a little bit. It's not going to make sense because we haven't talked about muscles in lecture. When I do, it will make sense. You will recognize the words that I'm using. All right? Today we're just learning words. Again, this whole first part of the semester in lab is mostly just learning how to talk to one another. All right? So you are teaching me things, and but I'm learning. I'm open to it, and I'm teaching you We'll be using that muscle model, and then this big leg, that thing. There's an arm right there, and there's this beautiful model right here. Okay, so they're just like, oh, it's a hunk of plastic. Plastic's cheap, even without tariffs from China. This thing is $3,000. So please be careful with these things. Please be careful with these things. I don't know. You know, not a lot of people buy them. Like this thing. Look at somebody forcibly pour this pin on the poor guy's butt. And you know, so yeah. As I'm going through this, you may want to be on one of those models or the other. They're there for you. So the point isn't to just sit there and listen to me drone on. I don't have to talk about any of this. If you don't want me to, you can learn them on your own. I'm just trying to I have a list of words that correspond to the muscles on our body that make us move, and I'm just trying to get those words in you. So when I say, you know, your shoulder over here, I can say anterior deltoid, you know what I'm talking about. I can say infraspinatus, or the muscles of the rotator cuff. You know what I mean when I'm saying that. I say your adductor mass. You know what I mean. T-band, glutes, glute medius, or glute maximus. That kind of thing. So I'm just teaching you the words. All right. I don't expect you to be like physicians, anatomist physicians, where after this is all done, you will have like the mind like a steel trap. But I am trying to get it so that you talk. So the first picture here is skeletal muscle, and it is. Skeletal muscle has three features. It is voluntary, meaning that we control it with our brains. It's the only muscle in the body three types of muscle: cardiac, smooth, and skeletal. But skeletal muscle is the only muscle we can control with our brains. It is striated. That's these stripes. Striation. The striations are significant functionally. That structure is significant functionally. We'll go through some. I'm not going to give you like 200 level course description of how muscles work, but I am going to give you a one. So we will see a little bit about what striation is. Okay. Another feature of skeletal muscle is that it's multinuclear. It has lots of nuclei. That's what all these little things are here. Little dots. Yeah, the raisin. Those are nuclei. That's where the DNA, the gene that make a muscle is. Is that what? Nucleus. Nucleat. Meaning it just has multiple nuclei. So when looking at it, visually, the two distinguishing characteristics are that it's striated. That doesn't automatically tell you that you're looking at skeletal. Striated. Striated. That's right. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever except death. Cardiac muscle, heart muscle, is also striated. So the way that you can tell the difference between heart muscle, if you're looking at it under the scope, heart muscle and striated muscle, you'll never in this class have. But is that smooth muscle has lots of nuclei. It turns out that that's significant. There is a functional significance to that we will talk about. Okay? So you can look at samples of striated muscle if you want. They should look something like that. But I'm going to move on. The other slide that I've given you is the neuromuscular junction. The neuromuscular. This is where nerve meets muscle. Nerve meets muscle. And I just need you to have a bit of what that means. I talked about how our nerves, neuromuscular. Here is a motor nerve. A motor, when I say motor, this is not like Ford F-50 engine. It just means motor just means any kind of nerve is a motor nerve that makes it happen. There are sensory nerves that are picking up information, and motor nerves. So it's going to make this muscle contract. So a motor nerve comes in and attaches to this muscle. There it is. So this is just a cartoon. The only place that models that. So on the deck, did you never see that there? No, the big guy. Yeah, that. There it is, and we'll go through that. I have a picture of that model, but it's right there. Yourself and look at it. But basically, what happens is there's this motor nerve. The axon goes into this terminal. I call them synaptic boutons. You can call them synaptic knobs. But they have these little vesicles, these little bubbles inside the terminal. They're going to release the neurohormone in this acetylcholine compound. But it's going to go into this space between the nerve and the muscle cell. We call this a synaptic cleft. Synaptic cleft. And that should be on your. If you go, I did update the list on. Oh shit! I forgot to show you guys the dates were. Well, if you want to see the due dates, you can just go into the calendar. Any assignment that is you can submit through Moodle. Not every. All right. pre and postsynaptic membranes. Pre is just a part of the nerve, and post. That's pretty much it. Is there anything on that list? What else did I put on that list? So this is what the slide, you should have a slide of the neuromuscular. Something like this. So these are the muscle cells, the big bands going across, striated. And then here, this is the axon of the muscle cell, the telodendria, which ends up at this junction. Their name for it is where end of the motor neuron attaches. And these are any questions on that? Pretty straightforward. Yeah, this would be an axon, and these are telodendria here. There. Absolutely. Except that in the brain, it's not neuron muscle. It's exactly. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Synapse is where you have a nerve that has some information it's putting out, and it's going to attach to some other excitable tissue. And that excitable tissue can either be muscle or nerve. So I told you already there are 4 tissue types. Maybe that's coming. We have, the lab is going ahead of lecture. But there are 4 tissue types. You're going to get the 4 tissue types. Half of them are non-excitable. That's connective tissue, which we have already looked at in lab, and ilial. And then there's excitable tissue, and those are the only 4 types of the body. Connective tissue, everything you are is made out of those 4, admittedly, very broad categories. And so in lab here, we've kind of moved from non-excitable. Synapse is between 2 types of, and specifically, it's the sort of connection where one is going, the upstream element, we'll talk about this in vesicles, going to release chemical into the synaptic cleft, and that chemical is going to affect receptors on the membrane and the postsynaptic and cause some. That's all. It's sort of like a binary signal. Yes or no. Most times it's no, and synapse happens. Okay. All right. Here's our model. So there's a bunch of words that I know are not connected to the overarching, not connected yet. We will make sense of it. Endomysium is a type of connective tissue that's found in muscle. In fact, it's really important for our discussion. A lot of what we do in yoga is remodel the architecture of the connective tissue. It's endomysium is a type of dense regular connective tissue. It's a type of dense regular connective tissue. We said that was made of endomysium. And it's specifically, it is a connective tissue sleeve that fits on the outside of the muscle. So if you look, on this model here, you'll see on the back side of it, so this is like a big long muscle fiber that's been cut, right? And you can see what would be the stripes, striation. We look on the outside of it, there's this like tough looking shell that's got these things that are meant to be collagen. That's the endomysium. This is a connective tissue sheet that goes around every single muscle fiber in your body. Every single muscle fiber in your body has endomysium. Really important because it connects contractions that happen in the muscle to the connective tissue sleeve that all those muscle fibers that then attach to bone and cause movement to happen. And when a muscle is like tight, not stretched, part of it is because of what's happening. And the other level, we'll get to the other. But in this model, this is endomysium. Sarcolemma. So, does anybody know the name for the membrane? Back biology. It's called the plasma membrane, or the plasma lemma. So the plasma lemma is the word that generic word, and in a muscle it's called the. And we'll talk about the sarcolemma. It's just the surface. It's like this stuff down here, which is actually the bulk of sarcolemma. It's important because that is part of the postsynaptic membrane, part of where the nerves attach. Sarcolemma. And these numbers here, if there is like a guide, a chart that has numbers that sleeve. I have PDFs of post. But that's what these numbers are. Anyways, a myofibril, if you look at it, you can see that this muscle fiber is broken up into these little bundles, clusters. Sarcomere. Sarcomere is the functional contractile unit. It's what's actually doing it. I should say this. Sarc, S-A-R-C-O, is the Greek word flesh. We'll get that in later, but refers to like the contracted parts of it. So a sarcomere is one of the repeating units of striation. So there are many repeating sarcomeres. The pattern of sarcomere down is what gives a muscle. Getting in here. Relax. Yeah, it's the contractile part. You'll understand it more. Yeah, cardiac muscles only have one nucleus. They're involuntary, but they are connected with all of the area tract. Cardiac muscle. We're not going to. That's so a nuclei in this thing. There's a bunch of them. This is purple nuclei. Nucleus. Axon. That's the thing coming from the nerve. So this is part of the axon. Synaptic knob or bouton is one of these things here. It's like blobby thing. motor end plate. This whole area, you can see there's this raised orange area that the synaptic knob is attached to. That's part of the muscle fiber. We call it, it's like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Guys, huh? No. Yeah, maybe I'm too. You can use them as tissue. These here, they're not really good. They're meant for cleaning slides, and they will make your nose. They will make your nose raw. You're welcome to it, but it's like really fine sandpaper. I would try using. So get some. All right. What else is on the list? Synaptic cleft. That's just the area between the synapse and the muscle fiber, right in here. Okay. So you're learning this anatomy now, so that I can talk about it. Mitochondrion. That's these little red kidney bean looking things. Those are basically the energy powerhouses of the cell. That what?
Yeah. Powerhouse of the cell.
If you see it, send it to me. I'd love to. Why not? Postsynaptic membrane, presynaptic membrane. Did that already. Synaptic vesicles. Synaptic vesicles on this model are these little white balls or white dots. And that's where the neurotransmitter, the chemical key that's unlock the cell to make it do what it does. Let's not worry about the cell. Transverse tubule. Okay, well, I don't want to explain what the transverse is, but because I am going to talk about it, but I don't want to go into it. On this model, it's just these blue things here. Okay, I know that sounds arbitrary. It's these little tubes that connect to the outside of the sarcolemma. So the like surface of the cell goes and forms meshwork called. We'll understand why that. Terminal cistern. Well, let's go to the sarcoplasmic. Sarcoplasmic reticulum. Say that word. Sarcoplasmic reticulum. Yeah, man. You say that at Thanksgiving. Grandma's going. Sarcoplasmic. Sure. You said. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Well, sarcoplasm is like the cytoplasm of the cell. It is the cytoplasm of the cell. Sarcoplasm. And the sarcoplasmic reticulum is a type of endoplasmic reticulum in one of these cells. Antepriya and then priya. You want to know what the post and pre were? Pre is part of the nerve, and it's this like thing right here. And post is part of the muscle cell. Cleft. Cytoplasm is actually goo inside of. Morning is wrong. Pudding, I like it.
No, it's like my teacher always said it was. I mean, it's just like raw.
Yeah, it's just the fluid that's inside your cell. Okay. It's the fluid that's inside. Yeah.
This is the fluid inside our.
Sarcoplasm is the fluid inside of our muscle cells. Cytoplasm is a generic term for the fluid inside any cell. Sarcoplasm is inside the cell. Sarcoplasmic reticulum is an amazing word. It's so cool if you guys are in college. The sarcoplasmic reticulum it's an organelle in a muscle cell that is analogous to the endoplasmic reticulum in a regular cell. Okay?
Endoplasmic.
Yeah. You guys, who is not familiar with the word endoplasmic? It is just a membrane-delimited structure, meaning it's just like a structure made out of a bunch of folded membrane. Yep. But in this bad boy, we call it the sarcoplasmic reticulum, and it has a special role in the contraction. If you're going to look on this model, it's the sort of dun-colored kind of psychedelic sleeve on the myofibril. I'm talking about. Yeah, it's all this stuff. That is the sarcoplasmic reticulum. Sarcoplasmic reticulum has this terminal part to it, which acts as a cistern, or like a words.
I definitely heard. Oh, it's well.
Yeah, that collects. Yeah, it's like a. So, for example, if I spend time in the jungle, John, that like city water, running water, or well water. You had to your water, save your rainwater. That's so. Anyways, it's like a repository or like a reservoir. So this endoplasmic reticulum has fluid inside of it. All right, it has fluid inside of it that is different than the normal sarcoplasm. We'll go through that. Probably not. I may not even. But at the end of the sarcoplasmic reticulum are these, at the terminus of them, at the end of it, are these cisterns, and we call them terminal. So a terminal cisterna and a transverse tubule, so a transverse tubule with two terminal cisterna on either side makes up a. So terminal cisterna, you can think of it like this. Transverse tubule or T-tubule, transverse tubule, terminal cisterna bred is the triad. Yes, ma'am. Go back. Yep. Sarcoplasmic reticulum is this beige-colored sleeve here. Yeah. And it has, as part of it, it has these terminal cisterna. You can see, if you look here, this thing, you can see it's kind of like, it's like an outpouching, like a pouching along there. That's the terminal cisterna. And it's in close proximity to these transverse tubules. Turns out that that's really important to how muscles. We're not going to go into painful detail on that, but I will. Only so much. Yeah. I think we're done on this slide unless there's any questions. Yeah. Two terminal cisterna and one transverse tubule in the middle. So triad just means three, so it's these three things, right? Their names are descriptive of what they are. I know that's like sarcoplasmic reticulum is descriptive of anything. How is that possible? Something that's reticulated is something that's been folded heavily. Reticulated. Okay. Anything else? Nope. Yeah, that thing. There it is. It comes apart. Put it back together if you take it apart. and those two guys, or ladies, hard to tell. Okay, so now, before your brain completely blows up, this is an overview, and everything in red, rather than delete it from the slide completely, I left the things in red. I'm not going to mention that are never going to have to be anything that you need to know for class at all. I'm never going to refer to it. You don't even have to look at it. But I left it there for those of you who want to see it. Yeah. So I left the muscle, and the chances you already know a lot of these. You probably know a lot of the ones in black.
Is this all of them?
No, but this is the anterior.
No.
This is anterior and superficial. So we're going to do posterior. So you'll see. But like I'm cutting out a lot. There's something like 485 muscles in the body, and we are going to not even crack them. Absolutely, don't even ever have to think about it. Yep. Okay, so I rather than go through this in this like overview picture, I could, but I have to zoom. I'm gonna go to the okay. So first is the head. There's not much up here on the head that relates to yoga. It seems like the body, and the mind is, but actually none of the muscles in the head. The things that I do want you, I'm going to talk about TMJ a little bit. Does anyone have problems with TMJ? So I think I will, at least I intend to, if I have time, I'd like to talk about TMJ. So to talk about that, you just need to know about the temporalis and the masseter. These are the muscles of so-called mastication. Mastication just means chewing. Masticate, chew. You get a juicer. Super primo juicers are masticators. So the temporalis is this muscle. You put your hands on your temples, and you do this. You feel that muscle. You feel that muscle going. The temporalis. Feel it? The reason, and so I'm going to give you as much etymology, word origin, and to help you remember the names. Does anybody want to take a guess as to why we call it temporalis? Temporal bone, it's on top of the temporal bone. It's true. Why do we call the temporal bone? Temporal bone. The temple. Yeah, why do we call it the temple? Temple. Thank you. Yep. Yeah, temporal. Okay. So the reason is because where do you? So imagining that you don't have a few gray hairs. Where is the first place on your body to show gray hair? Your temple. It works its way up. So I have a few in my beard here, and eventually this will go gray. And it'll climb up here. It'll climb up. And it'll go like this. Oh, gray. Yeah. So the idea is that your temples show the passage of time. Yes, that is called vitiligo. It's related to it's like an autoimmune disorder that is non. Absolutely do not need. I'm just showing them to you. Yeah, I mean, I can talk about all of this stuff. My favorite muscle is this one right here. It's called the levator labii superioris allokinase. It's the longest named muscle in the body. You go like longest name.
Oh.
Longest name. Okay. So temporalis and masseter. The masseter is just you feel down here in the jaw. These are the muscles of chewing, and they also affect. Okay, so that's all in the head. Onto the neck is the sternocleidomastoid. So that's these two muscles that you see right along here. Sternocleidomastoid. And the name, so masseter, to chew, the chewing masseter. Sternocleidomastoid, the name of the sternocleidomastoid, S, describes what it attaches to. So sterno, there is a sternal head that attaches to the sternum, right here. Cleido, meaning clavicle, clavis, clavicle, sternocleidomastoid. Your mastoid process is this bony lump that's behind your ears. If you can't find it, just follow your cat. Yeah, absolutely. There's a number of them. It can be the sternocleidomastoid. It can be the scalenes. It can be this capitis, levator scapulae. Any of those. It can cause, well, yes, a number of muscles can cause head. Cranial aponeurosis, one, Brachialis, cause tartar people, right? Who do that, they have an SCM spasm. So an SCM, the SCM on the right is responsible for the head to the left. So what it does is it pulls the back of the head. The mastoid process is behind the axis of the spine. The axis behind the bends of the axis. Mastoid is posterior to that, and then it attaches anteriorly. So my SCM on the right side is pulling the back of my head around. So if you turn your head to the left, put your hand on your right SCM, and you can feel it contracting. Flat on my throat. On the other side, nothing. I turn the other side and feel that SCM. It's this muscle right across. Sternocleidomastoid. And this is about the worst picture I'll show you of trapezius. I have many better pictures of trapezius labeled, so and then there's this thing called the platysma. The platysma. And the platysma is a muscle that is responsible for doing this. So this right here, that's platysma. That's platysma. It's been cut. So again, not a very good picture. It's a broad tendinous sheet that runs across the bottom. Let's see if I have a picture. I will have a better picture of it, but it's this broad muscular sheet that runs over the top of the whole throat. All right, the platysma. So it's good to stretching. It's a very thin, broad, wide muscle that just wraps around all of this and kind of sucks it all up in. Yeah.
So,
I know. Oh, gravity. face to start sliding off.
Yeah. Bye.
So we'll call this the Newt Gingrich look. That thing that you're talking about, the waddle, is a lack of tonus. That it can also be fascia fat. It can be a drop. Yeah, certainly in your platysma is good for helping to maintain that sort of. And also, you'll see sometimes in people like the two lines that those like strap muscles right there. Those are normal muscles that you're not gonna have to learn in the throat. That because the platysma has not been well toned, individuals, the platysma is basically gone, and then the strap muscle. Yep, platysma. So a lot like that upward dog stuff that we're doing, stretch here, that's definitely good work for the platysma. All right, here's the anterior view. So again, here's temporalis. There's another muscle on top of it called temporoparietalis. That's been removed. About that. What do I want here? Here's some platysma. So here's a picture. It runs up onto the jaw, face, comes down, attaches along the clavicle, blends. The thyroid cartilage. Here's the sternal head of the SCM and the clavicular head, the SCM. Still a little bit of trapezius, clavicle. Nothing new. Why don't we proceed? Yeah, thyroid cartilage. I'm pointing it out. It's not a muscle. I'm not probably going to. I'm not. But I will talk about thyroid. Yeah, I will talk about the thyroid. Shoulder stand. Thyroid. Them without fish pose. Invests that tissue, reperfuses the tissue. Okay, so here is a slide just showing TMJ. I'm not going to talk about it at the moment, but this is the temporomandibular joint. So here, the temple bone, which has been included by the temporalis muscle, the mandible, which is your lower jaw, and the way you're able to close your jaw, there is a hinge right here in the TMJ joint, temporomandibular joint. Then the temporalis comes down, inserts on the ramus of the temple, and the masseter comes up the zygomatic arch, pulls the jaw up and closed. But it also affects the capsule of the temporomandibular cartilage that moves as that joint. We'll talk about the type of. But so having tension in the temporalis, in particular in the masseter, smaller temporalis, can impact the architecture of that TMJ joint. So finding ways temporalis. Yeah, so it can be a number of things, but it's probably some kind of muscular imbalance in the muscles that TMJ. So often people who grind their teeth at night, like teeth grinders, will have problems with their TMJ because their temporalis has like a chronic inflamed component, whatever. So like people with TMJ often this. Yeah, sure. Okay, not today. Yeah. Hey man. Okay. Here we go. So this is a little bit more of a zoom in. Again, bad picture of the trapezius. The trapezius is best seen from the back, but there is a little lip of the trapezius that comes. So if I'm lifting my shoulder here, I can feel this superior margin. Temporalis, we've covered SCM. We know acromion, we know clavicle, we know the deltoid muscle is the delta-shaped muscle, right, like triangle.
Oh my god! You know all of these. It's a trap.
Yeah, trapezius. That's right. They help elevate the shoulders. Yeah, trapezius. Yeah, these are like I would guess that you already know at least half of the muscles, don't you? We're not going to do the like coracobrachialis. But the deltoid, everybody knows their delts. Yep. There's the pectoralis major. Everybody knows the pecs, right? All the like bodybuilders. What's that? There is a pectoralis minor that is part of this, but that's a deep muscle, and we're super. And then everybody knows the biceps brachii, biceps. So So I remember I was talking about Galen today, and he talked about the encephalon. The encephalon is the thing N inside cephalalis head. So CEP that means head. Yeah, the two-headed muscle. So there's a short and a long head to your biceps. Brachii just means. And then the triceps brachii, I can't really see it here, but that's the three-headed muscle at the back of it. Okay, so if you take your bicep and I can press on mine and I can feel a line, a little bit of a groove. Here we go. Head number one. And up. Short head. Yep. And the tricep will be the same way. Yeah, when I'm going through this, like you take that model and you tear it apart. Learning it on the model as I'm going for it is the best way to do it. Yeah, there's another one here. There's models all over. I'm gonna like be done talking. Hopefully, plenty of time left. Yeah. Triceps on the back. There are three heads to that. The brachialis. So if you were to look at this model here, you'll notice that the bicep brachii comes off, and there's this large muscle underneath called the brachialis. The like bulk of this is actually not bicep. It's mostly brachialis. So most of the like the bump or whatever is actually the brachialis that is underneath the bicep. I have decided that nothing from the elbow down am I going to make for at all. It's just not because it's not important or relevant to yoga, but it's hard. It's a little bit. I don't want to like so much. Yeah. Forearms. Okay, so then what do we got? Serratus Anterior. When you look at Serratus Anterior, so here's some serratus on this character. They're the like muscles that you see. There is rib, and then you can see the serratus anterior. I can feel mine. You'll get them too once you do enough. But,
I feel my ribs.
Serratus Anterior. And they're called, so Serratus Anterior because they're serrated like a serrated knife. They go to each of the ribs, yeah? And then anterior on the front side of the body, serratus posterior. You don't have to. But serratus anterior is identified. Latissimus Dorsi, your lats. Your lats. Again, very bad picture of the lats. Okay, now the obliques. There are basically 4 muscle layers of your abdominal wall. And we'll have several pictures. There's the Rectus Abdominus. So what does it mean to be, what is rectitude? Rectitude, yeah, I mean like a straight path. Straight path. Being erect is being upright. So it just means straight. Rectus Abdominus, the straight muscles of the abdomen. And the Rectus Abdominus has this thing called the linea alba. It's a tendinous stripe that goes down the middle, and then these tendinous, what are called inscriptions, that are just a line, go back and stuff. The linea alba. So that's one layer of muscle. It originates on the inferior margin of the rib cage and inserts on the pubis. This is all rectus abdominus. Yep. Helps flex. And then there are the obliques. There's 2 levels of obliques. There's external oblique and so and they run at 90 degrees to 1. External obliques, the ones on the outside, they form a V towards them. Rectus abdominis on the outside of everything. The rectus abdominis, see external obliques, V. And then the internal obliques are like an A. It's a little bit, so you can imagine like in your core, you start A. There's a 4th level called the So, oh, yeah, Brachialis. That's everything on that slide. Let's look at the lower half. Again, gluteus medius is best seen from the backside, but they're muscles that run up and down. They run vertically, and they attach to your iliac crest. We'll see that. It attaches to the iliac crest. Yep. So that's right. They attach right along here, and let's see. It would be on this muscle. Yeah, so this is going to be glute medius right here. This is glute medius. This is the like skate skiing muscle. It's lateral compartment. If you like stick your hand just below your iliac crest, and you do what I'm doing here, you'll feel that muscle. You'll feel that muscle go. Yeah. The iliopsoas muscle. Iliopsoas muscle is a hip flexor. So it's actually going to insert on what's called the lesser trochanter of the hip, this muscle, bumpy bone right here. It's going to come up. Let's pull a skeleton. Yeah. So here's the lesser trochanter. The iliopsoas is actually two muscles. There is the iliacus, which attaches to the iliac crest, but I'm not asking you to separate the two muscles or tell them. The iliacus comes here, and the psoas comes down off of the spine itself. They come together, they insert on the tubercle, and they make your knee do that. You make your leg come flexes. So it contracts and it pulls this bone, the bony tuberance, in towards this iliopsoas. That's a muscle that's really tight. And hockey players who are always down like this, that muscle is never gets a chance to lengthen.
Is that like
Groin muscle. So saying you tear your groin is a little bit ambiguous.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure, you can tear your iliopsoas. It's probably the pectineus that people are talking about when they're tearing their. Maybe the pectineus. Is that even on there? Pectineus is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Pectineus. I would guess that's what that would be. Iliopsoas. We'll see a better picture later. It's a deep muscle. It's just labeled, so I'm pointing out. We'll see a better picture. Okay. And then there's these adductor muscles. And I guess as I was going through this, I was like, oh yeah, the adductor longus. Learn that. But actually, later in the presentation, I changed my mind. And all, like, there's the adductor longus, the adductor brevis, the adductor magnus. There's all these big muscles there that you can tell the difference between because their names describe them. But I'm not going to worry about them. These are the group of muscles that are all along. So adductor longus is part of the adductors. The rest of the adductors are deep to all this stuff. So three muscles I did want to go through are part of what's called the pes anserinus, and you'll see a better picture of it later. But there's the gracilis and the sartorius. Let's do the sartorius. Sartorius, yeah, what a great name. Sartorius runs this way, from the points of your hips down towards the outside of your knee. Yep, down this way. And if you look at the way they run, you can imagine what they're doing. It's going to pull the inside of your hip upward, or the inside of your knee upward and towards the outside. It helps you do this. Sartorius is contracting when I'm doing it. So, like, for example, if I were to go into pigeon or something, like lifting my leg, pigeon pose. We haven't done. Yeah. So as you pull your leg up, they call it sartorius. Does anyone want to guess? Sar what? Sar. What's the? Come on, SAT word. Close. Saturn and Sagittarius both start with S and have to do with outer space, but the spelling is a little bit off. It's S-A-R-T. Sart. Thank you. Exactly. You got it. So, sartorial. So, someone who is sartorially inclined, because the sartorial arts are people who sew and make clothing. So it's referring to how seamsters would go into this position as they were sewing a button when they were making clothes. Absolutely. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you where the word is what it is. I didn't come up with it. I didn't make it. Just explaining it.
You would get one.
Well, you'd be sitting.
Oh, yeah, you're just sitting there.
That seems more likely.
You're
sitting in a chair. Right? I'm in a chair and I've gone like this and I
just stood and did that.
No. Incredibly strong. I mean, it's long rides. Good core strength.
And balance.
Yeah. So no, they would sit like this and so that's why they call this the Sartorius. It's the muscle that helps bring your leg up. Okay, you get that? Gracilis. Gracilis. Does anyone recognize that word? Graceful or gracile. Gracile means graceful. Who is graceful? Like all these things that I'm doing that I don't know anything about. This is Annie knows. She can tell you these. So the gracilis, when I'm going like this, these are movements that actually the gracilis helps bring the leg like this. It's a movement that is seen as being what a ballerina graceful. It's on the inner thigh. It runs basically right here. We'll see a better picture. Yeah, gracilis is this muscle right here. It's a bad picture. But they go together. There's one more on the back side called the tendinosis. The three of them are a cluster called the guy wires of the leg. The guy wires of the leg. They are also called the pes anserinus group, which means crow's foot. And you'll see why that means. So, for example, here you look on this guy. You have, you see how there's the three of them going up like a crow's foot. That's what the anatomists thought. The three toes of the bird. So here's the Sartorius, the Gracilis, and the semitendinosus of the hamstring. And they're the guy wires that support the inner leg. All right, support the medial aspect of the leg. They are certainly important in a number of yoga. Pes anserinus, the post. Quadriceps. So the quads, everybody knows the quads. There's four of them. Quadricep, four-headed muscle leg. Okay, has four heads, and we can only see three of them because one of them, the fourth, is really deep. So there's the rectus femoris, the straight one of the femur, straight muscle of the femur, the rectus femoris, and then there's the vastus lateralis, vast muscle, lateral, vastus medialis, that is on the medial side, and then there's the vastus medial. You can't see. So, but there's the quads. I won't talk. The ones that I will talk about actually are the rectus femoris and the vastus. I'll talk about them. Hopefully, if I get to it, I talk about the patellar tract. Patella is obviously your kneecap. The iliotibial tract, or IT band. The IT band. It runs from the lateral side of the knee all the way up into. It blends into something called. So here's the IT band. Goes right up here. It's a thick tendinous sheet that goes up, blends into the tensor fascia lata, which then is different than the glute medius. It looks like these are the same in this model, but this is tensor fascia lata, and this is glute medius. So tensor fascia lata is not labeled on this. Oh yeah, it is. Tensor, it tenses the fascia or the IT band on the lateral side of the. I don't know about you guys. Feel I love on those foam rollers, rolling that TFL.
So the IT band is fascia.
That's right. It's a fascial sheet that provides a lateral resistance, or circumferential, really, but lateral resistance for the leg. And in fact, it's also what the pes anserina is working. So these are contracting, and this is resisting. So it's giving this tensile. This class is so cool, dude. I never get to talk about this. My other A&P classes. Yeah. It's like it is a different class. There are only 3 muscles below the kneecap that I'm going to talk about. I don't remember whether I put Pelvic on there or not. I might have put. And Pelvic is on there. Yeah. Well, anyways, Tibialis Anterior. These are the shin splints, the muscles that are just to the lateral aspect of the tibia. You feel that line of your tibia bone, your shin bone, and then just lateral to tibialis. And then the gastrocnemius and soleus. So gastrocnemius and soleus is to the leg what Biceps Brachii and Brachialis, exactly the same. All right. Gastrocnemius has heads. It is, yeah, great. I'll show you a picture of it. The gastrocnemius is a little bit stomach shaped. So it's a little bit stomach shaped. It's a little bit stomach shaped. That's why they call that.
That's hard.
You miss?
Yeah, inside. Yes.
I don't know. What are you talking about? That's your shin bone. Shin bone. That's your gastrocnemius. That's the other head of the gastrocnemius. Yeah, there's 2 heads. That's your calf muscle.
He's on really bald guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good, Jensen.
Okay. If you remove the gastrocnemius, you'll see.
Don't tear it off.
You do it without removing it. Don't know. Keep talking about breaks. I don't know. Take this whole bugger. I'm not gonna do it. Anyways, the soleus is it's showing it from the front here, but the soleus is like the big muscle that is deep to the gastrocnemius, and it's you can feel it if you go below the sort of rounded belly of the gastrocnemius and you go down just a little bit. That's the lower edge, the lower margin of the soleus. It's the big, long distance muscle of the calf. It's not your sprinting muscle. The gastroc is sprinting. The soleus is long distance. Yep. Pin it up and go. So that's everything there. Okay. So here is the overview from the back. Here's the overview from the back. So now we can see a much better picture of the trapezius. It's this trapezoidal muscle that's the most superficial muscle on the back. It runs, it's everybody likes to get their, when they say, would you rub my shoulders? They mean, would you rub my deltoids feels nice. Yeah, it's over here. It feels nice too. Actually, I'm kind of partial to the levator scapula. Infraspinatus. Huh? Uh-huh. Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of.
Yeah. Everybody that works at a laptop's got problems with RAM. So SCM, we got that. Trapezius, deltoid, rotator cuff. So rotator, there's what, 6, 8 muscles in the rotator cuff. There's Supraspinatus, infraspinatus, subscapularis, teres major, teres minor, teres. There's one more. I don't remember the other. Maybe the coracoid. It's trapezoid. Absolutely.
Like, that's what I would do.
Absolutely.
The sartorial.
Well, teres. So what is the name of the planet here? Earth. Yeah, that's what Terra is actually the name that scientists use. Yeah, Terra. Yeah, the scientific name, like universal. Terra. We live on newsflash. We live on planet Terra.
Flat Terra.
Oh. Yeah, that's why we call it terrestrial.
I would have asked theory.
All these terrarium.
Terrarium.
All these English words that you're learning about. Fun. Okay. Teres means round. Teres means round. Yeah, these round muscles. You don't have to know that. But I'm just. So then there's the Latissimus Dorsi, and now we can actually see it, right? Latissimus Dorsi, believe it or not, it actually inserts humerus. It inserts on your humerus, and it brings the arm like this. Yeah. So when you're doing the chaturanga and you're high push-up down, and I tell you to keep those arms in, that's control over partial. Latissimus dorsi. So it's the lateral muscle on your back. What else we want? Rhomboids. So bad picture of the rhomboids. We'll do a deeper dissection of the rhomboids, but they're shaped like a rhombus, and they basically bring your shoulder blades towards them. So when I'm going to show you some deep. Yeah. So here we can see the triceps. So here's one head. There's another head. There is a third head, a short head. See a little bit of the external obliques. Okay, so here now we can see the glute major. The glute major is the big butt muscle right there. The bulk of your butt cheek is your glute maximus, gluteus maximus. And then the smaller one is the glute medius. Like I said, it runs vertically from the iliac spine, so you see it above the edge of the glute medius. You can tell it definitely has a different function than the glute medius. It gives you lateral stability. Lateral way. I'll show you when we have it better. Okay. So then the hamstring. Should have labeled. So there are 4 muscles in the hamstrings. All right. There's 2 on the lateral and 2 on the medial side. The back of it. The 2 on the medial side are tendinosus and semimembranosus. Best seen here. So here's medial. Semitendinosus, it's the one that's got more of a tendon. And then semimembranosus, it's broader. It's like more of a membrane, a thinner sheet that lays beneath. Then on the lateral side is the biceps femoris. And it has 2 heads that you can see there. Anyways, biceps femoris. Gastrocnemius soleus. They call it the hamstrings because they would cut the leg off, the pelvis, hand by come, you can separate it from them, attach to the neck. They put the tendinosis. Yep. Femoris. Two heads of that. So, yeah. The cross next to semitendinosus, gracilis, and sartorius is the pes anterior. That's the crow foot that I was talking about. That's this crow foot, the medial guy wires of the leg that are working against the IT band, stabilize. They're important muscles, strengthen in yoga, and a lot of yoga poses require control. Like, so for example,
Warrior.
Yeah, warrior one, you want to engage all of the pes anterior, prevent the leg from doing this, or like you know what I'm saying? Pes anterior working against the IT band helps keep you. No. Semitendinosus is just one muscle, and semimembranosus is one muscle, and they run sort of as a pair on the medial side. And you can remember that they're on the medial side because the semitendinosus is part of this crow's foot, pes anterior. The sartorius, the one that runs across here, the gracilis, the ballerina tendinosus. Below it is the semimembranosus. It kind of gets squashed. So these are medial half and the lateral half. And these four here are the hamstrings. So the semitendinosus gets to be part of the hamstrings and the pes anterior. You guys are learning. I hope. I think. Okay, so here's the same stuff, just zoomed in. Is there anything new here? I think not, actually. I probably should.
Tricep.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the same. Yeah, so the two heads of the triceps, the third one. Yeah, a little bit of external oblique that runs back here. A little bit of it in the back. Sternocleidomastoid. Supinator, did I not take that off the list? Yeah, supinator is. All of that stuff is off the list. All that stuff is off the list. Yep. Yep, texture fascia latae. TFL. Absolutely, it's a bone. Yeah, it's the only bone in the foot that makes you.
Yes.
Yeah, right? Because of the calcaneal that attaches. You know, that's a tendon that we want to get the whole posterior compartment. So there's like a fascial that runs from the calcaneal across the whole posterior compartment, then thoracolumbar fascia. When we do those downward dogs, Antenturinus is the Sartorius, Gracilis, and the crow's foot. Pes means foot, right? The word for foot. And Anturinus, lap. Three. If you look on that model, you can really see it. Three muscles that are right up. Okay? Yep. Going deep. Whoa. Okay, so yeah. And there are so many muscles. I'm cutting out a lot. Focus on the big boys that So there's this erector spinae, which is really just a group. There's a group of muscles that erectors bring your spine erect. They help you. And these are the muscles, when you put your hand on the back, those big like lumps of muscle down there that you're feeling, like, I don't know, like those two ropes, the big cords of muscle on the outside of your spine, that's your erector. What's that? Absolutely, yeah, they can be tight for a number of reasons. Maybe because they're being overworked, because you don't have otherwise your core erect, or maybe you've got posture. There's a lot of reasons. Quadratus Lumborum is deep to that even, and you can feel the QL if you go out a little bit from the erector spinae. You can feel the margin of the QL right here, Quadratus Lumborum, and it feels almost like you're digging into that same zone. The kidney sits right here. The muscle wall is pretty thin. You get, so if I were to have QL on this side, you see QL sticking. But it's another muscle that it helps attach the lifts the pelvis toward the spine, pulling all of that back for extension. You can get a stretch on the QL if you send your arm up. So I'm going to stretch my right QL. I'm going to send my right hip out to the side. Like this half moon, when you're doing that, you're getting QL. Even QL stretch. Another way you can do it is laying on the bed, reaching up the bed, is drop this leg off the back of the bed. Important here is the thoracolumbar fascia. We'll spend a whole lecture on fascia class. And that blends from the sacrum up into the erector. So when your low back, when these muscles get sore, it can throw off the SI joint, it can throw off the alignment of the pelvis, the relationship to the sacrum, and it's all because of the sarcomere. If you're not stretching that tissue a lot, you can get over collagenated. Multifidus. Oh, yeah, right, sorry. The multifidi are really deep muscles of the back, that are below the erector spinae. And it's a group of muscles that attach the transverse process of one to the spinous process of one several above it. So they're multifaceted. The thing about the multifidi, and in general with any of these muscles, the deeper the muscle and smaller that muscle, the subtler the movement. They tend to be the ones that initiate movement, whereas, so they'll get the body moving in a certain direction. They're the first ones to fire when you're going to do some kind of body movement. And then once you start getting that momentum going with some kind of action, then the larger superficial muscles take over and put the force. All of these are multifidi. So multifidi and QL is like the deepest layer here. And when I in the physical practice class, it's my turn, and I was just introduce you to Ashtanga, do the action. But maybe it was some. I'll do some other really subtle work you can do to engage just these really small muscles close, very very subtle spinal that you can engage, release, work that. So a lot of times, it's a lot of the inner core work, strength, smaller core muscles that often. I might do. Only thing I wanted to show you here was the scalene mass. You don't have to all that stuff. The scalenes are these muscles, so you come anterior, so you put your hands on your shoulder, you can feel that trapezius, and it comes off the trapezius, and you're in this like ticklish. These muscles, and they work up onto the side of the neck, not the back, but onto the side of the neck, towards your throat, up behind the SCM. Behind the SCM, that is all scalene. And the scalenes can, you have tension in your scalene, come in, work. Tension in the scalenes, you have this thing called the brachial plexus, which are nerves that through the scalenes and go in, whatever. If you have a lot of tension in the scalene mass, it can lead to problems. All right, so here is, some more picture of the obliques. Nothing new here. These same picture. Serratus there. Okay, so there's these two sections to look at. So this is what it would look cross section. I don't have one of these in the class. I'm not going to label it like this. This is only as important to you as it is useful. All right, to help you get it straight. But you can see the erector spinae. You can see you can see. Well, I think it's important to see. I think that it's good to see the diagram. So you have this big tendon right here in the middle. So this is looking from below up at our lungs. You see the tendon and the muscle kind of curving down and blending into all of this fascia inside of the body, which connects to the transversus. So this is that fourth layer of muscle. Said there was rectus abdominis, external, internal obliques, and now there's transverse. So if you think about it, the muscle fibers, have gone. So here's our torso. We have fibers going like this with the rectus abdominis, fibers going like this with the external obliques, fibers going like this with the internal obliques, and fibers going like this with the transversus. So you can see we've got fibers going in 4 different, so a high redundancy over to really, because there's no bone here, folks. There's nothing to keep all your most important stuff in. If there was, we wouldn't be able to bend. We are. So that muscle protects us and gives us the flexibility we need, but without sacrificing. Yep. So I guess that's. This is a better picture. So here you can really see those layers. The transversus abdominis, obliques, obliques. And you can see that it begins to be this single fascial sheet. There's this like big fascial plane that runs in here. And the diaphragm becomes part of that same fascial plane. So there's fascia that attaches to our pelvis, runs up the inside of our abdomen, down through the diaphragm and back, the back side of your pelvic bowl, and over the sacrum on the inside. So we're going to talk about that in class. Fascia. I'll talk about Lamaze and childbirth, and giant breathing, and blah, 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 blah. All that stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Childbirth. Okay, so I've already gone through those. This one only has a few new muscles. Muscles that I want are, so we've done a bit of a deep dissection of the chest, and we can see pectoralis cut back, the deltoid is cut back, and now we see the pec. Pectoralis minor. Oh, that was the. So, spinatus below the spine of the scapula, supraspinatus above the spine. Teres major. Subscapularis is right here. And so subscapularis, super deep muscle, because it's on the underside of the scapula, under here, the rib cage, scapula. We'll talk about the rotator cuff when we talk about the shoulder. It's important. There's 6 different. There's nothing else. This is all. Okay. So, this one, what's new here is this, the levator scapula. Levator scapula helps do what it says, does what it says, elevating, levitating the scapula. It helps bring your scapula up, along with the trapezius, the levator scapula. In fact, it runs parallel to the muscle of the trapezius, but deep. It's hard to do, but always. My levator scapula. What else? So, yeah, I didn't go through this and read out a bunch of stuff that I should have. That should be read. Clavius should be read. The intercostal muscles I will talk about. So there's the muscles, there's external 2 layers of muscle between your stuff. Right? Okay, so here in this muscle, in this picture, cortical brachialis has been read out. You can see the subscapularis. Subscapularis is one of those rubbing medial edge of scapula. My fingers are under. But it comes from the underside of the scapula and inserts to help to keep that shoulder up. Be hard to access. The best way to access massage. Or actually through your arm. through the right here. If you lift this, you can get in here and all this stuff. You can see the two heads of the bicep and anything else. I think that's it. All right. Anything new on this one? A lot of. So you can see the skeletal lumbar fascia. Again, so this is pretty good because you can see the relationship of the levator scapula to the top. The genius thrust. I think I talked about it. Did I not talk about it? So yeah, so infraspinatus has the supraspinatus is the muscle above your scapular spine. So if you feel that bony ridge along your shoulder back there, above it is the supraspinatus, and below it is the infraspinatus. Those are the most common muscles that get torn, particularly the and this is a good picture of the rhomboid. So you can see how both the rhomboid major and minor have been cut. But you can see how there are these rhombus-shaped structures that pull the scapula towards the midline. So when I ask you to put the chest and bring the shoulder blades together, like soften the back, all that stuff, I could say engage your rhomboid. That's what I'm trying. Engaging the rhomboid. And by doing that, you're giving tension against which the rest of the rotator cuff can act, because your spine is and what's happening on the right is working on the left, at midline. The rhomboids have to be engaged for rotator cuff to function. So that's why we're having it together, so that we have the right base, starting from the midline and working our way out. We do things with arms. We have asking people to do things with the arms and shoulder blades together. It's a lot wilder. The right time. Make sense? What else do we got here? Pretty good otherwise. Oops. Right, so we've already looked at all that. So another reveal on the levator scapula and the rhomboid. Both of those are bringing those shoulder blades. And then this is some more really nice reveals on the supraspinatus and infraspinatus. Terry, as I said, wasn't. But that list in the lab has got all of that one is proper. Okay. Fun stuff. Yeah, pelvic floor. So the only thing here, this is not a gynecology. The only thing here that I want you to understand is the concept of the perineum, because sometimes I'll talk. There is one of the bandhas or binds in yoga. You hear about bandhas. A bandha is a bind that happens in your body where you are engaging. And one of the bandhas is the Uddiyana bandha. It's the one where you're lifting the perineum. And so the perineum itself is made up of two triangles. the urogenital triangle and the pelvic diaphragm. Sorry, and the anal triangle. The urogenital. The four of those make this diamond area called the perineum. And the anal triangle is, most of it is consumed by what's called the pelvic diaphragm. These muscles are, you don't know the pubococcygeus or the iliococcygeus, coccygeus muscles, but they form this diaphragm or muscle layer that is at the base of the pelvis. And then on the other side, there is this urogenital. You see it. There are all these muscles that name. But I think it's worth taking some time to look at these diagrams and think about these diagrams. And as you're studying, think about how to engage these muscles. Because when you're breathing, breathing actually begins. I know that sounds, but in yogic breathing, you begin by supporting at the lowest of the chakras, or at the deep bandha. Support through the perineum, and then you can release the abdomen, pull the diaphragm down, fill the lungs, support. So, breathing. Think of breathing as being this oscillation. Beyond which, it's good to strengthen the perineum. As you get older, it prevents a bunch of other problems. Looking at these models, these diagrams, thinking about identify them. They are skeletal muscles. You have control over them. Your brain engaged about them, seeing if you can somehow map that muscle. Become aware of it. A yoga instructor would say, lift through the perineum, engage. And you actually. So this is pretty superficial. I think we've covered all of this again. Okay, some stuff. I had obturator on there, and there's obturator. So the sacroiliotubulosities are right. But this is glute maximus and glute medius. So the glute medius is helping with lateral abduction of the leg. It's also not pure abduction. Lateral skating. Big. Yeah, it's probably. All right. So your butt is super. Your butt is super complex. There's a lot of muscles, and we're not going to learn all of them, but we're going to learn a few of them. Most of them I've already talked about, right? So here's the gracilis. This is your leg, right? That's that gracile muscle, the graceful muscle of the ballerina. Glute maximus cut away. Glute medius has been cut away. There is a glute minimus. which is not on our list. We're not going to worry about it. Here's the TFL. Here's the trochanter. So the only thing that I'm adding in this mess that I have not talked about already is this muscle here, the piriformis. And the piriformis is important for a number of reasons. It's, first of all, often the cause of a problem called sciatica. If you ever heard of sciatica, have a grandma, or you dealt with it yourself, the sciatica is, the sciatic nerve is a nerve that's about the size of your that is coming off the spine and going down to your butt cheek, innervate your leg. The sciatic nerve emerges, been removed from this picture, but it comes off the sacrum and emerges right under here, between the piriformis and the obtuse. It comes right out here and it dives in. So the piriformis, because we're Westerners and we sit in chairs, that piriformis has a tendency to get, it doesn't get used properly because we're like sedentary, don't use the piriformis properly. We don't stretch it because we're not, to stretch the piriformis, you have to do pigeon. This is a good way to stretch the piriformis. You're like hitting right on it. And people in other places of the world, or non-westernized parts of the world, that don't sit in chairs as much, that sit on the ground more, like this, they don't have the same problems with sciatica because their piriformis has been lengthened properly. So the piriformis is clinically significant. We'll talk about it a little bit. It's at least relevant. So the piriformis is doing, it's helping for lateral rotation of the hip. That's right. I mean, it's not a super strong muscle. The thing that's important about piriformis is getting the length so it doesn't spasm. Okay, we're getting close, folks. So here's the Iliopsoas, the Iliacus and Psoas muscle. See them coming down and going onto that lesser flex the hip. Here's the adductor mass that I talked about. Here we see the piriformis coming out this way, and then nerve. You can see where the nerves would emerge through these holes, form the sciatic, which runs right along it. Probably you have sciatic pigeon. Super close. I think again, this is all redundant. We've seen all that already. Vastus lateralis medialis. So these are all quadriceps. Okay, yeah. This, the popliteal fossa. It's so fun to say popliteal. Or sometimes some people pronounce it popliteal or popliteal. I usually say popliteal, but popliteal. Anyways, it's this diamond. I will definitely use this term, at least in my yoga, when I'm doing this pose. I have you guys come forward and target right there in the popliteal fossa. Yeah, fossa is just a cavity. So it's the diamond shape behind your. There is a popliteus muscle that the popliteal fossa. It's good. Any questions? I know you all want to go outside. No, well, I mean, I'm going to shut up here in a second, and then you can study the models if you want, or you can go outside and come back. By the way, there's a key on reserve. You can come into this lab. Oh, that's it. That is it.